Okay, so who didn't see this coming? Inside the NBA to appear on ESPN ABC next season. Inside the NBA features what features Ernie Johnson, Charles Barkley, Kenny Smith, and Shaquille O'Neal will appear on ESPN and ABC starting the 2025-2026 season via partnership with TNT Sports and the NBA. It was announced Monday, except when the show goes on the road, TNT Sports will continue to do it independently. It'll be an independent production of Inside the NBA from its Atlanta-based studio. Over the terms of the agreement, Johnson, Barkley, Smith, O'Neal will remain with the show. The show, which has won 21 Sports Emmy Awards, will appear on ESPN ABC surrounding high-profile live events, including ESPN pregame, halftime, post-game coverage of the NBA Finals on ABC. The conference finals, NBA playoffs, all ABC games after January the 1st, Christmas Day, the opening week, and the final week of the season with marquee live events. Inside the NBA, universally was recognized as one of the best and most currently impactful shows in sports. ESPN chairman Jimmy, I'm going to butcher his last name, Potaro, said in a statement, "We have a long admired the talent on that team. We're thrilled to add them to our chemistry and our knowledge of our robust set of NBA studio offerings to supersede for the NBA fans like never before." Additionally, Inside the NBA will further solidify ESPN, and it's going to be a very important to ESPN. All right, so let's just let's talk retrospect. If this was a secret, it wasn't the most kept secret. I've been saying for all along, Inside the NBA, there's this show. A lot of people, this show is more popular than a lot of NBA games. And if you look at the NBA games, if you look at the ratings are not that good. Adding Inside the NBA to ESPN's rotation when it comes to covering the NBA is going to directly impact the NBA's popularity and also boost the ratings. Could you imagine, like if they're on the road, a lot of those games that normally would not be seen in prime time will be seen on prime time, particularly on ABC and ESPN. This is a huge, big time plus for, first and foremost, us as basketball fans. But more importantly than that, ESPN. ESPN has been trying their due diligence to try to find something similar to Inside the NBA or even better than Inside the NBA, and they have failed every single year. Like 3 or 4 years ago, they had Stephen A. Smith, Michael Irvin, Jalen Rose, Michael Wilbon. They thought this was going to be the dream team. This was going to be this NBA's the ESPN coverage of the NBA was going to be better than Inside the NBA, and it didn't even last. It didn't even last for a cup of coffee. It was gone midway through that particular season, and they broke that part. They broke that team up. Jalen Rose no longer works at ESPN. Stephen A. Smith is at ESPN, but he's doing other things. He's trying to get his face all over ESPN stratosphere. We just covered a video on Stephen A. Smith wanting to do Monday Night Football. Okay, Magic Johnson is just Magic Johnson. He has big plans of doing something, and then midway through it, he's like, you know what? This ain't for me. And Irvin Magic Johnson really doesn't need the spotlight. He really doesn't even need the money. Okay, so this is a big, big deal, and this is the reason why Turner Sports was going to take the NBA to court, because one of their selling points is uh, we have the best show that caters to the NBA. So why do we don't have a TV deal? And this is another reason why Charles Barkley, Shaquille O'Neal, Ernie Johnson, Kenny Smith was going to stay with Turner Sports and inside the NBA. Not because they needed the money, not because they needed a job, because if those guys would have went out in free agency, ESPN would have just gobbled up, and particularly Fox Sports 1, and they need a pick me up, all right? Charles Barkley would not be on the free agent circuit much longer. Shaquille O'Neal. Now, maybe Ernie Johnson would have went into retirement, and Kenny Smith would have found a home, maybe with NBA radio or NBA TV. But that group was about to break up. And that's why Turner Sports, and that's why they believed in Turner Sports to work something out with the NBA. Now, originally Turner Sports wanted a partner, well, not a partnership, wanted some type of TV deal with the NBA. They didn't get it, but and this is the best thing for Turner Sports to do is allow inside the NBA to run on ESPN's airwaves. Now, ESPN does not own inside the NBA. It's still owned by Turner. Okay. And that's fine and dandy. But just to have this show for ABC and ESPN is a real selling point. And if this was a secret, this was not really a big secret, because I've been telling you guys since the word go, since we found out that Turner Sports was no longer going to have the NBA, have a TV partnership with the NBA. We knew this was ultimately going to happen. Now, I did talk about the possibility of Charles Barkley, being on the free agent trail, and wasn't going to be a free agent much longer, because ESPN would have brought the Brinch truck to get Charles Barkley to ABC. And Fox Sports 1, after their disaster of letting go of Shannon Sharp, and more recently not renewing the contract of Skip Bayless, they needed a big time star at Fox Sports 1, and those two companies would have bidded to get Charles Barkley to go to either network. And this is why Charles Barkley immediately said, look, I'm not going to break up this tandem, because people are depending on us to stay together, because a lot of people that are working inside the NBA, Charles Barkley, Kenny Smith, Shaquille O'Neal, Ernie Johnson, they know these people, and they know they're better together instead of separate. And that would mean the show will go on. It'll just go on another network, and those individuals will still have a job. There was talk of hundreds of people losing their job if Turner Sports couldn't get some type of agreement with the NBA as far as having having a partnership to televise some NBA games. All right, and since that never came into fruition, Turner Sports, Warner, they're trying to save money. They're not just trying to just give the NBA wherever they want it. They were trying to get a reasonable type of television deal where they can showcase some NBA games. And like I said, this is great for the NBA. This is great for ESPN. More importantly, this is great for Turner and inside the NBA. This is a win-win all across the board. Okay, there's no losers in this type of a decision. I want to add one more thing. I think, and when you look at the recent ratings of NBA, the ratings are low, and the NBA is trying to transition into the next one. the next big star, because LeBron is not going to play forever. KD, is not going to be able to play much longer. I think KD's got like another 7 or 8 years, but KD is not that markable, iconic name that he can carry the league on his back. Now Luka is doing some extraordinary things at Dallas, but he doesn't have the hardware. All right. So the NBA is desperately seeking suits and trying to find their next big superstar. In the meantime, you're also dealing with the stars. They don't want to play back to backs. They want to shorten the season. All this jazz. I think when these younger stars start making a name for themselves and they're more marketable in casual house homes, the NBA is going to get back on this drive. All right. So yeah, I think this is great for everyone who's a basketball fan who just watch inside the NBA, not only for the highlights, but the good, clean fun, the fun they have on that set. Charles and Shaq is, picking on one another or picking on Kenny, and Ernie, that chemistry, you can't duplicate something like that. You just can't just say, okay, we can make another inside the NBA without that group, or maybe one from that group, and reproduce magic all over again. That's just not going to happen. So great news. Guys, tell me what you think. Rate, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next video. Deuces.